Welcome everybody to this month's Cookalong video. This is for our EatLove members who have a customized meal plan with us. And this month we are featuring the vegetable sushi bowl. This recipe is super easy to make. It is low sodium, moderate amount of protein, and you can adjust that protein amount depending on what you need. If you need more, if you need less. It is heart healthy and also diabetes friendly. So thanks for joining us today. If you're here with us live, thank you for being with us. And if you're watching in a recording, thank you for being here as well. This you can find on EatLove platform. Again, if you have a subscription with us and working with our team of dietitians, you have access to this. And if not, EatLove is a really cool meal planning platform that makes meal prepping, meal planning really easy. So this is the recipe vegetable sushi bowl. And here are the ingredients. And I am going to make this the easy way. Lots of us don't really have time to cook in the kitchen. So I will teach you the ways that we can make it more simple. So you can cook rice if you have the time. And I do encourage people to kind of make a big batch of rice because you can keep this in your fridge or freezer for the week. And when you do that, that helps to lower kind of that carb content and increase the fiber content, because when we have cooked and cooled rice, it develops what's called resistant starch, which is processed differently, acts like a fiber. And so that helps to decrease that glycemic load for you. If you don't have time to do that, and that is totally okay, I like to keep kind of instant or microwavable rice in my pantry. This weekend, I had a few unexpected child events, so I was not able to prep ahead of time, but the instant brown rice, you can keep this in your pantry. This is what I'm using because I didn't have time to cook anything ahead of time this week. And then I love to have frozen edamame in my freezer, an easy protein, plant-based, super tasty. My kids also like it, that I like to have. And then sometimes I get the one that's in the pod, sometimes I get it shelled already. So this one is already just the kernels. And then this recipe also calls for carrots. And again, you can purchase whole carrot and grate it yourself or chop it or dice it, however, whatever form you like it in. Again, I just, cutting on time, I like to sometimes just get already shredded carrots. My kids also like to snack on this, so kind of a win-win here. And then it asks for cucumber, and I have these mini cucumbers, so I'm going to use 2. It does ask for avocado. I don't have that. Sometimes it's hard for me to get avocado that's like perfect ripeness, but I do like to have this avocado mash also on hand. So this is what I'll be using today. Some green onions and then some nori seaweed. Add those into the bowl. And then for our sauce, and yes, you can have soy sauce on a low sodium diet. It's not really that soy sauce isn't allowed on a low sodium diet. It's just how much sodium are you having? And for this recipe, we're going to be using the lower sodium soy sauce and then sesame oil, rice vinegar, and then oranges. The juice of the oranges. You can also substitute apple juice or pear juice in this recipe as well. So let's get started. First thing that I'm going to do is, and this recipe is going to be making 4 servings, and you can also kind of decrease the amount of servings that you're going to do for this recipe. So I'm going to heat up this rice first, and all you have to do for this is just open it up and then pop it in the microwave for 90 seconds. While that is microwaving, we are going to work on the sauce. So 4 servings, and this will feed a family of 4, or you can also have enough for another time and prep for the week. And then kind of, because we're kind of using really simple ingredients, like you don't need to assemble this together until you're kind of going to eat it. That way, nothing kind of gets soggy. Get a little bit of a workout too while you're juicing your oranges, or if you already also just have orange juice in your fridge, you can also go ahead and use that as well. I haven't really juiced anything in a while, just because I do prefer to eat fruits in their whole form just to get that fiber. But I do like that this recipe is using fruit to kind of brighten up the sauce as well. And if you're okay with pulp, you can also keep the pulp. That kind of gathers too while you're juicing the fruit. Friendly diet. Yes, you can have oranges. Do you want to talk to your dietitian about how much potassium? But we actually don't need to worry too much about potassium. Many people who have kidney disease don't unnecessarily need to restrict potassium. I know that Dr. Google or some outdated information might say otherwise, but definitely that's something that we want patients to know, that you don't need to unnecessarily restrict. So here is my juice. And for the sauce, we are going to put it into a jar and kind of shake it together. You don't need to put it in a jar if you don't want to, but this is just kind of to shake it up. And then also like to store it, right? So this is making 4 servings. And so I do want to keep it in a jar, and oops, maybe my jar is too small. We'll see. Another thing that I like, a tip that I like to share is that when we are making things, if you do have a kitchen scale, I do recommend using that just because you don't have to use as many kitchen utensils, which cuts down on washing things, which for me, I prefer that. So the recipe is asking for 3 tablespoons soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of vinegar, and the recipe does say white wine, but I do like rice vinegar, so I'm going to use that. And this is unseasoned, which doesn't have any sugar or any salt added to that. So when you're buying rice wine vinegar, you do want to pay attention to that because some of them do have like sugar or salt added to it. Not that that's a bad thing, but if you are someone who does need to kind of either decrease your sugar intake or decrease your salt intake, you just want to be aware of that. For 3 tablespoons, this is going to be 44 grams. So, you know, it's not a big deal to wash the tablespoon measure, but let's save. Oops, I did a little bit more, but for me, that's going to be okay. And I am going to need to get a bigger container for this. So let's swap that over. So that was our vinegar that we just added. And then it also is 44 grams of soy sauce. And again, I'm going to be using this less sodium soy sauce. You need to have even less sodium. And I believe that this recipe estimate is about 450 milligrams of sodium per serving. That is fine if you need to follow a low sodium diet, but in the event that you do need to be lower sodium, or perhaps some of the other ingredients you have do have added salt in them and you need to adjust that, then you just make adjustments. It doesn't mean you can't have this soy sauce or you can't have whatever other ingredient. It just means that you might need to do a little bit of math and maybe reduce the amount of something. So here we're going to 44 grams of soy sauce. And then the sesame oil is going to be 44 milliliters. And also on EatLove, just so you know, when you are on the rest on your portal, you can change it from cups to the grams or ounces measurement. So I think that that's a really cool feature as well that I love about EatLove, is that, again, I don't need to do the math or like Google, you know, what 1 cup, what is that in grams? And then all you do is shake that up. And then again, keep that here. And then that way you can use it. And this is probably actually going to be more than enough. I don't really like things too dressed. So I probably can use this for other things throughout the week as well. And now let's get to assembling our bowl. So edamame too, you can microwave that if you would like to warm it up, but you can also just kind of defrost it and then use it as is. The things that I'll need to do to prep would just be to cut the cucumber, and you can cut this however you would like. I'm going to dice it for this dish. You can also julienne it, whatever shape you like to eat. And if you have English cucumber, a Persian cucumber, whatever you enjoy or have in your pantry, you can also substitute for other vegetables as well. Sometimes we don't always have all the ingredients, and I actually was really lucky. I had everything in my fridge or pantry. Cucumbers are something that I like to keep as a staple ingredient. just to either snack on. My kids also like it, so that's something also easy too. Green onion, I started to plant these in my yard, which has been amazing. So I can just go out there and cut some green onion whenever I need it, and that's been really amazing. Sometimes I feel like green onions are very expensive. I mean, sometimes I see them on sale for like 5 bunches for 99 cents. And then sometimes each one is 99 cents. So if you have a little space, all you do is cut off the tops and plant them, and then they just keep regrowing. So I find that to be really cool. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. So this recipe calls for 2 cups of brown rice. And if you are someone with diabetes or insulin resistance and need to kind of adjust your carb content, again, doesn't mean you can't have rice. You can just modify this to however much that you need. So let's assemble. It's 2 cups of brown rice. So that would equal half a cup for each serving. I'm going to just do a quick little eyeball there. And then for the edamame, you are going to have also about half a cup, again, depending on what your protein needs are. Look at that. And you can, assemble this however you like. And then for the carrots, it asks for 3 carrots, which didn't really specify how much. But with vegetables, I say you can kind of be a little bit free. We always want to aim for half the plate to have vegetables. So I'm going to aim for that. And then the cucumber, same thing. It said 1 cucumber, and I'm just going to kind of put however much I like. And then for the seaweed, I think it acts more as a garnish. It does ask for seaweed sheets. I just have these in my pantry. So you can cut it into strips, or you can kind of crumble it as a pretty some sprinkles. You can also leave these sheets whole and then kind of make like a sushi roll wrap too with this. Lots of different options for you. So I'm just going to shred it like that. And then for the sauce, you can just drizzle it on top. So don't forget to mix that up. And then I am going to just do about a tablespoon, and then I'll probably add more if I feel like it needs more, but I think for me that might be more than enough. So about a tablespoon. And then this recipe did ask also for toasted sesame seeds. My sesame seeds just happened to expire, and they did have kind of a little bit of that stale scent to them, so I didn't want to use them, but that is something too to add to the garnish. And then don't forget your avocado. And I'm just going to put it on the side because I am going to mix this all together, and then you're going to garnish it with the green onions however much you like. You can do the ends or the whites. So there you have it, our assembled sushi bowl. Super easy. I think we made that in 15 minutes. And then if you kind of have just all these ingredients ready to go for the week. So again, this was 4 servings. You can just assemble real quick, like 5 minutes. You can even like kind of microwave the edamame and the rice together once you've already had those ingredients out. And then that way it's a little bit warm if you want it warm, but you can also make this like a cold dish as well. And all you have to do is mix it together and then enjoy. And then just to highlight again how you can utilize EatLove, I'm going to show you. For that, your dietitian does put in a specific prescription for you, so that when you are in here, you can rest assured that your recipes are ones that fit within your nutrition prescription to help you with whatever health and wellness goals that you have, whether that be to prevent or manage your kidney disease, diabetes, heart disease, or if you're just trying to look to balance out and eat a more healthful and nutritious diet. The prescription is custom to you and your needs, so that the recipes pull up are ones that fit into your diet. When you're in here, you will see the recipes that are curated for you. But if you don't like that, remember that you can always feel free to swap and choose, look through other smart choices, do restaurant meals, choose from favorites, or search by ingredients. And then when you're meal planning for the week, if you like to do this, I always recommend people to kind of maybe do this Friday night or Saturday morning, because I do find that most people do like to go grocery shopping and kind of prep for the week ahead on the weekends. That might be different if you have a different work schedule. But you can go in here, kind of plan loosely what you're going to do. You don't need to do every single meal. Remember that. I use this for a few meals a week. And then once you've decided, remember, you can always add everything to your grocery basket. And then that way you can pull up the grocery list much more easily over here. And if you do have a few recipes that you do want to enter yourself, you can do that very easily. There is a help section, I believe. Yes, there is a help section here that does have some great videos and tutorials on how to navigate EatLove, scheduling things, meal planning, editing, batch cooking, adding in your own recipes. I know that this one, a lot of people do have their own recipes. And if you want to do it more easily here, you can look at this tutorial and then just don't forget that this is a tool that can be used to help you enhance your meal planning or take kind of something out of your daily to-dos. We all have so much to do. So EatLove is supposed to be a platform that helps to alleviate some extra load and make meal planning easy. So I want to thank you for joining us today and would love to know if you end up making this recipe, how do you like it? Did you make any modifications? And I hope that you will join us next time.